Sergio Perez's acrimonious exit from Red Bull at the end of last season was a long time coming in the eyes of many fans. Perez, or Checo as he's also known, had a howler of a season, which cost his team not just the win in the Constructors' Championship, but also second place. Red Bull's third-place finish was unacceptable, considering Max Verstappen's Drivers' Championship title. The team made the decision to cancel his contract, and many people thought that would be the end of Sergio Perez's F1 career, but he may be on his way to a surprising new home. Today, I'll check out Checo's shock return to Formula One, so don't go anywhere. Perez entered 2024 looking to build on his best ever finish of second in the drivers' standings, having also contributed to back-to-back constructors' titles, with a strong start to the year earning him another contract extension. However, he endured a slump after putting pen to paper, and with just 9 points to his name across the last 8 Grand Prix weekends, Red Bull announced that Perez would be leaving and ending a 4-year association. There were a number of factors involved in his slump, and there were as many opinions on why he underperformed as there were people giving them. While Checo definitely didn't help himself, Red Bull weren't completely blameless either. Michael Schumacher famously compensated for problems with his car, making his teammates look terrible when actually the car was probably to blame. Perez suffered from a similar problem last season, as issues with the car he had highlighted in 2023 weren't resolved, as they weren't affecting Verstappen. Red Bull then developed the car in a way that made it more and more unstable until eventually even Max was struggling. Checo had the joy of saying "I told you so," but that little win won't have made up for the pain of losing his seat in Formula One. Perez has since been taking time out in his native Mexico and planning his next move. At the start of the year, he was asked for an update on his future plans and whether he'll return to Formula One. Perez said, "Honestly, I don't know. It's too soon to have an answer. Everything happened very quickly at the end of this season, so I didn't expect it. For sure, if I receive a good, interesting project, then I'll definitely consider it and think about it. It will all come in its own time. For now, my priority in the months ahead is to have fun, do what I haven't been able to, travel, be with my family. In the next 6 months, I'll make a decision on what I want for the next step of my career." Checo may have wanted 6 months to make a decision, but by the sounds of things, it has actually taken him less than a month to find a new race seat. Obviously, the 2025 grid is decided already, and unless you're a plucky Alpine reserve driver, there probably isn't a space anywhere. 2026 is far from decided though. Red Bull's Liam Lawson is only on a 1-year deal, Mercedes have no drivers signed for 2026, Jack Doohan's only on a 1-year deal, and both V-Carb drivers are only on 1-year deals as well. And then there is Cadillac, the 11th team on the grid in 2026, who currently have no drivers signed. It's no secret that Colton Herta is the big favourite to occupy one of the seats in the future Cadillac Formula Racing team, which will arrive on the grid in 2026 with a Ferrari engine. Herta finished second in the 2024 IndyCar Championship and is the #1 driver in the Andretti Global team in the American Championship. Alex Palou, the winner of last season's IndyCar Championship, is the other name being spoken about, though Herta has the edge as an American driver. But the problem with those two is that neither of them has any real F1 experience. A brand new team needs a set of experienced hands in the car to tell them if it's actually a decent car or not. With two rookies, you run the risk of not knowing if they are just rubbish or if your car is rubbish. So Cadillac needs a set of experienced hands, ideally a name that will resonate with an American fanbase. Well, who better than Sergio Perez? A number of reports this week are saying that Checo is on his way to Cadillac in 2026 for a surprise return to the F1 grid. This year, he's still looking at the options, such as participating in the 24 Hour of Le Mans, probably in the GT category, as a first experience for a championship that interests him for the future. But his main goal is to be able to be in Formula One again, and with Cadillac as a great option, with all the support of Carlos Slim and the rest of the sponsorships he had until last year at Red Bull Racing. It would be a great injection for Andretti's team and an asset on and off the track, since the Mexican, who won his first race in 2020 with a racing point in Bahrain, is one of the few drivers who can say that he contributes to filling 4 circuits, such as Mexico, Austin, Miami, and Las Vegas. For a team like Cadillac, Checo really is the full package. Obviously, he'll have a contract that will need paying, but the money he'll bring them in sponsorships will cover that and some. He obviously has a massive fan base who will support the team through merch sales and social media engagement. But more importantly, he is a decent F1 driver. Yes, he didn't match up to Max Verstappen as a teammate, but there are only 5 or 6 drivers on the grid who could do any better than Checo did. You would need a Hamilton or a Leclerc or an Alonso alongside Max to actually provide competition. Not all F1 drivers are equal, but that doesn't mean that those who aren't in that absolute top tier are bad. Checo would do a job at Cadillac, and if the reports are to be believed, then he will be there in 2026. Before I talk more about the move and the Cadillac team, the long wait is almost over. We're just 2 weeks away from preseason testing, and if you want to catch all the news and analysis of what is happening before the 2025 season kicks off, then please press the like button and subscribe to F1 Reverse. We've been bringing you daily F1 news for 3 years now, and we don't plan on stopping anytime soon. Thanks a lot. Former Formula One team boss Gunther Steiner believes Perez would be a logical signing for Cadillac should the Mexican wish to return to Formula One. If you're Cadillac, you need somebody experienced. Checo has been in quite a few teams for a long time. He knows his way around. He could be a big help. Maybe put him on a 1-year contract. It's a lot better than having old rookies in there. That's an opportunity for Checo, and by then, a year of digesting the beating from Max, he recovers from the Dutch beating, so it could bring him to a better place again. I would say he could have value for Cadillac. As Gunther says, there's a lot right with a Checo move to Cadillac, and sometimes it's best not to complicate things and just take the obvious and good option, and that might be what happens here. Of course, driver decisions are far from the only thing that Cadillac needs to sort in what is going to be a very stressful year for them. They have a busy year ahead in preparation for their first F1 season, and at the moment, they aren't even sure what parts they're going to have to make for their car. Motorsport.com recently reported that Cadillac is evaluating whether to source suspension parts from Ferrari after completing a deal for power units and gearboxes ahead of its Formula One debut in 2026. The American team could expand its collaboration with Maranello to include the supply of suspension. This would mean that it would use a similar concept to the other US squad, as Haas has been following this path since it joined the grid in 2016. Though Haas have rejected Ferrari's 2025 suspension, instead choosing to design their own in a massive move for the team. There are a number of customer teams who buy their suspension off their engine supplier. Apart from Haas, the Racing Bulls have a similar deal with sister squad Red Bull, while Aston Martin also receives the complete rear end from Mercedes. The reason for this is that the rear suspension assembly has to be precisely built to fit around and inside the gearbox at the rear of the car. If you're already taking a team's gearbox, you may as well take the rear suspension as well because its design is so heavily prescribed by the gearbox design. Then, if you have the rear suspension, you may as well have the front suspension as well, as the two parts have to work in such a delicate balance. Come 2028, Cadillac are expected to have a GM power unit in their car, but up until then, it looks like it's going to be a Ferrari engine, gearbox and suspension powering Sergio Perez on his F1 return. Do you think Checo is a good choice for Cadillac? Or should they be trying to get the services of someone like Valtteri Bottas instead? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you want to support the channel, then make sure to check out our merch store at f1reverse.com, where you'll find some sweet F1 inspired merch. Until next time, drive safe and bye for now.